Welcome. Let's talk a bit more about Linux running on IBM Power Systems. A few years ago, a frequent source of confusion among computer engineering professionals was the use of Endianness in computer architecture. Now, what does that term mean? Well, it all started when an Israeli computer scientist, Cohen, suggested that there's a small war going on in computer science to answer this question. What is the proper byte order in messages? And he likened it to the Endian war. Still not clear? Well, let's digress a bit. To answer what Endian war means, we have to go further back in history to 1726 to pick up a copy of Irish writer Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels. The terms derive from one of the satirical conflicts in the book, in which two religious sects of Lilliputians are divided between those who crack open their soft-boiled eggs from the little end, they're the little Endians, and those who use the big end, the big Endians. Now, let's get back to computer science. Let's assume that we have a hexadecimal number that we'd like to store in computer memory. Each character in a hexadecimal represents 4 bits. Let's assume this number to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The leftmost byte, 1, 2, is the most significant byte, and the rightmost byte, 7, 8, is the least significant byte. In Big Endian, the most significant byte is stored in the smallest memory location. In Little Endian, the least significant byte is stored in the smallest memory location. So we see that in Big Endian, it's stored as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in Little Endian, it's stored as 7, 8, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2. IBM Power Systems used to be primarily Big Endian a few years ago, but now supports Little Endian too, and Little Endian has become the memory storage method of choice. For example, Red Hat Enterprise Linux since version 7 has supported both versions. If you or your client is using Power 7, note that it's likely you're using the Big Endian version. Little Endian has become popular since IBM Power version 8. Other popular Linux distributions like SUSE Enterprise Linux and Ubuntu now release only Little Endian versions. So it doesn't hurt to check which version your installer uses before installing your operating system. Now, we do not want to present the line of server hardware in detail, but for those of you who are curious, let's take a quick overview. The Power 8 server line can be split into 3 categories. First, the scale-out server line. Second, the scale-up enterprise line. And finally, the Open Power Linux cluster systems. Under the scale-out line, we have servers like the 822, 814, and 824. And these numbers do stand for something. The first 8, that first digit, well, it belongs to the Power 8 lineup. The second digit, 1 or 2, stands for the number of sockets available in the server, which houses the processor cores. And the final digit, 2 or 4, stands for the height of the server. 2 stands for U2 height and 4 for 4U height. The L suffix stands for Linux only server. Similarly, we have other servers in the scale-up enterprise and the Linux cluster family. Now, let's see the Power9 family. The Power9 server lineup can be categorized into 3 groups. First, we have the mission-critical workloads. Mission-critical applications which use technologies like SAP HANA and SQL or NoSQL databases require impenetrable security to be baked into the system, as well as the reliability and high performance clients have come to expect from Power Systems. Then we have the big data workloads category. The LC line of servers can crush through large volumes of data. So, for example, Hadoop and Spark workloads running on Power Systems. These servers bring the compute density and the storage capacity to satisfy even the most demanding big data workloads. And finally, we have servers suited for enterprise artificial intelligence or AI workloads. The AC922 server has been demonstrating the kind of deep learning performance and accuracy that can only be delivered with the combination of IBM Power9, NVIDIA GPUs, and the NVLink technology that ties the CPUs and GPUs together, and specifically engineered software to be able to work on the most complex AI models. The naming convention is similar to Power8, except some newer terms were introduced. For example, H stands for SAP HANA Optimized Server. AC stands for Accelerated Computing, S for Scale-Out Server, and E for Enterprise Scale-Up Server. The Open Power Foundation was founded in 2013 as an open technical membership organization that will enable data centers to rethink their approach to technology. Since then, we've had several major companies join and use the Power Platform for their applications. Member companies can customize Power processors to satisfy their business requirements. Its mission statement is, through the growing open ecosystem of Power architecture and its associated technologies, the Open Power Foundation facilitates its members to share expertise, investment, and intellectual property to serve the evolving needs of all end users. For more information about that, go to openpowerfoundation.org.